Because that's my souvenir.
That's a set. If you save me one,
Yeah, that's
I
my
now have
souvenir.
2 keepsake boxes under my bed. And I hope nothing else happens where I feel the need to buy another one. I just bought those in the last 2 years.
And people say, you don't want it? I got a picture of it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Even flowers. Isn't that weird? Like, I love flowers. But I take a picture, but I can keep the picture forever.
Unless you buy some pressing flowers from pages.
Yeah, it didn't.
They be yelling and carrying on. I can do that. And y'all don't leave before we take a picture. So it's like, okay. How's the lighting?
It's good. Because these, well, there's a light right there, so. I guess they're streaming it too, because there's a. They must be streaming it too. See the camera?
But the camera's pointing this way.
That's true. You should have one. Yeah, there's one in the back. It's not on the back.
Because who are they streaming it to? I know they're gonna record it. That's
Yeah, but the one in the back isn't on.
Mom, did I ever tell you the story about how excited I was with this red room?
No, you did not.
So,
You knew that was the claim when you
is that me?
I can't wait. And I just put my head on my mouth. So. Now you can go play with my trouble.
Mom is having yesterday. I originally was thinking of how we switched it up. And whenever
This is the family room. I saved this for family. Because I'm getting ready to tell Monica a story. I don't want to have to be turning. We both need to hear it. Sit up here. Playing with you. Come on. You don't have to step over me to get out to introduce you. What's wrong with your friend?
You want to switch? Because that's recording. That's fine. But she,
You don't want to. Well, I don't want to be responsible for this.
it's recording. Okay.
That's right. So, Sean swears he can take pictures and record too. So,
I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for this.
so this is the story all 3 of you can hear. So when I was at The Ohio State University getting ready to graduate, my year 2005 was when they started having the red commencement robes for the doctoral students.
Instead.
And I didn't know they were red until I got to the bookstore to order it. And they said, oh yeah, we have, because I always saw the black one. Oh yeah, we have new ones this year, they're red. And I started having a connection right in the middle of the bookstore. I said, wow. And so we just having a hissy fit. And so one year when I was at Central, I used to go to commencement all the time at Central because they would always have really good speakers. And one year I went, and one of my students came to me and said, Dr. C, did you get a red robe because you're a Delta? No, baby, that's just how we get down. That's what it is.
At the Ohio State,
Ohio.
y'all have caused problems because even in our database, I'm over a bunch of universities coordinator for nonprofit, the Ohio State. So then others want to call themselves the College of
No,
Wayne
that's
America.
not it.
And the, I just go ahead and delete it.
No, that's
just like
not
I
how
delete,
we do it.
just like I delete doctor in front of your name because every one of you is a doctor because you're all professors.
Well, not all professors are doctors.
That's true.
But those are
But
already.
these are.
Okay.
So you do not need that in front of your name. You just irritate everybody else when I make name tags.
Are we irritating everybody else? I
If
always
3
get
of
tickled
you
when I
out of
see-
5,000 got doctor in front of your
Let me tell you
name, you
something. I
irritate
don't care if
everybody
it's
else.
9 million. You better put doctor, PhD, or something behind it in my name.
You sound like my husband.
You know how we had to work for this, please. You better do something now. I don't know what it is. But you don't have to step on.
So let me sit on the image.
Check to make sure everybody's ready.
But I was coaching a little late.
Feel ready? We're gonna start in a minute or two.
Oh, born ready. We just wait for the
Don't. You were thinking loud. You were thinking loud, Dr. Santo. Thank you. I'm like a wizard. I arrived exactly
That's
when
all.
I'm like a wizard.
That's right. I can't start what I heard.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out. I'm sorry that we kept you waiting a few minutes. It's an imperfect system, but we're really excited to spend some time with you. My name is Santo. I am the chair of the Department of Communication, and I'm so excited to be here and get to celebrate this momentous event for some of you in terms of the graduating class of fall 2024 from our department. This is an incredible achievement. And I know sometimes fall graduation feels smaller than spring graduation. You can, of course, come back for spring graduation. We hope you do, but we absolutely want to mark that this is, you've worked so hard to get here, and this is an important moment for you. So I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to just, sort of express how excited I am, and then I'm going to introduce one of my colleagues, and who will then introduce our speaker, and we will, sort of go in that order. So it's not lost on me that students who are graduating fall 2024 started college, just as we were sort of moving into the pandemic, and as we were moving past the pandemic, a very strange time, to try and adjust, right, so that ultimately life at university was never quite what you saw in the movies, and lots of people are still trying to figure out how to make that work. But you all did, and that's the incredible thing, right? You figured this out. You managed to hopefully have a very successful and enjoyable time while you're here, while also navigating a kind of new terrain. And that is something that I think really deserves recognition. It's not easy to do, especially when the kind of fail-safes and the kind of systems that had been in place were suddenly not necessarily as guaranteed as they once were. So I really want to commend all of you for being able to make that work for yourselves. That's an incredible gift. For parents and family in the room, I want to really assure you that your kids made the right choice in majoring in communication. There's this thing that people say, I always say this to folks, where people say, why do you need a degree in communication? Aren't we always doing it? Aren't I communicating with you right now? The answer is I am, but poorly. And the truth is that I think what we all know deep down is that communication is essential to almost every facet of our lives, right? That there's not a single, communication isn't the solution to every problem, but no problem can be solved without communication. And so understanding that the skills and the competencies that your kids have developed, your children have developed while here are going to be really, really significant in terms of how they approach the world. We offer the standard, recognition that your children will get great jobs. Every indicator suggests that a degree in communication offers lots of opportunity, that is the type of skill sets that are transferable to so many places, and of course we want everybody here to go on and have amazing careers. But I'll be honest and say it's not the most important thing to me, right? I think my sense is that a career is something that is something that helps you earn the money you need to have the life you want, but life is far more than just your career. And so I really want to also emphasize that beyond the kind of tools and the competencies that you've developed, in your time here, I think what we've helped you do, hopefully, is set you up to think about the role of communication for the public good, right? That part of what we're also interested in is thinking about how those communication sort of tools that you've been using are going to help you be better advocates for your communities, are going to help you really think about how you can intervene in spaces where you see problems that need solving. They'll help you take on leadership roles and feel confident that you can offer something that is going to be truly a gift, truly an opportunity to sort of really make the situation better. And those pieces are, to me, if not, I would say more important, I'll go with just as important, but I think for me far more important in many ways than the job that you will also get, right? Because the sense that you can use these tools throughout your lifetime, to really make a difference is something that I hope that you will cherish. So let me end by saying I am excited to find out more about what the next chapters in your lives lead. I know sometimes it's like there's some anxiety, what comes next? I'm sure you will all figure this piece out, but I do hope that you also come back and share with us what's been going on, how you've been able to sort of utilize some of the things you learn in classes and just some of the things you keep on learning as you go through life, because this is, even though the end of your undergraduate degree may be coming right now, life lessons continue to happen. You will continue to learn every day of your lives, and so we look forward to hearing all about that. All right, so with that said, and finally got me out of the way, I am really excited to introduce my colleague, Dr. Renee Alexander Kraft. Dr. Kraft is the associate chair in the department, a much more eloquent speaker than I am, and she is going to introduce our commencement speaker for today. So Dr. Kraft, please come on up.
Good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to get to see you all. I'm going to be good about reading from my notes at the moment, because when I read, especially for someone or get to introduce someone who I have a long connection with like I do, Dr. Caldwell, I could ramble for a while, but we don't need that. So, it is a profound privilege and joy to introduce someone who embodies excellence, compassion, and vision. Our very own UNC Department of Communication graduate, Dr. Cassandra D. Caldwell. Dr. Caldwell is not just an internationally renowned thought leader, author, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. She is also my dear friend and sister, bound to me by our shared journey as undergraduates at Caroline. To have witnessed her as Cassandra at the end of her undergraduate journey, sitting here exactly where you are sitting now, and to welcome her back here now as Dr. Caldwell, your esteemed speaker, is a beautiful full circle moment. Dr. Caldwell's career is a testament to a range of possibilities open to our communication graduates when, they keep pressing forward with the hard work, vision, and commitment that got them this far. With over 24 years of leadership experience at organizations like Visa, General Electric, Sedeco, I'm not pronouncing that right, am I? Is it Sedeco?
It's Sodexo, but that's okay.
Thank you.
You're doing great.
You see her teaching me right now? Thank you with Sodexo. And the International Society of Diversity and Inclusion Professionals, Dr. Caldwell has forged new paths, creating workplaces where everyone belongs, and mentoring others to achieve their fullest potential. In higher education, her contributions are equally substantial. Dr. Caldwell has held academic appointments at esteemed institutions like Cornell University, that other devilish blue university down the road that we don't need to call the name of, and of course here at her alma mater, where she currently serves as a visiting professor in this very department that helped launch her remarkable career. Dr. Caldwell's teaching areas, which include leadership, diversity, and organizational behavior, have empowered countless students and colleagues, embody her deep love for education and mentoring. In addition to her work in the department, she is currently the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Ackerman LLP, a leading national firm with over 750 attorneys in 24 cities. Dr. Caldwell's impact is global as well as national. From completing executive education at Harvard Business School to serving as a visiting scholar in Ghana, South Africa, and England, she has brought her insights and passion for equity to nearly every corner of the world. Her expertise has been sought in countries like Japan, Morocco, and France, making her a true global thought leader. But what sets Dr. Caldwell apart isn't just her extraordinary resume, it's her heart for connection. She is a master networker, but not in the transactional sense. For her, networking is a way to build community, a way to give us the gift of connection to one another. She recognizes the unique talents and potential of those around her and delights in shining a light on our gifts and amplifying our brilliance in ways that inspire and transform. Her commitment to service reflects in this same ethos of connection, whether founding the Loaves and Fishes Fund to combat food insecurity, mentoring young women through the sisterhood we share in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, or volunteering with organizations like Habitat for Humanity. Dr. Caldwell exemplifies what it means to lead with humility and purpose. The honors she has received are as impressive as her character. From being named one of Miami's most influential and prominent Black women in business and industry, to receiving the Harvey E. Beach Outstanding Alumni Award from UNC Chapel Hill, her accolades reflect a life and impact of distinction. Dr. Caldwell's authenticity, passion, and generosity are a beacon to all those who know her. Whether she's advocating for equity in the corporate world, inspiring students in the classroom, or building bridges across communities, she leads with grace, integrity, rigor, and love. It is my great honor to welcome Dr. Cassandra E. Caldwell.
I was trying not to cry because I have known Renee since longer than we want to mention, but we were both sitting where you sit now. We were both together in undergrad, majoring in the same department, and I always call her my little sister. I'm so proud of her. So thank you so much, Dr. Alexander Kraft. It's my pleasure to call you doctor as well. So thank you so much to the faculty and Dr. Santo for believing in me and believing that I could actually come and have something to contribute today. I do appreciate it so much. And it's my extreme honor to be here. And my topic for today is called the power of resilience. The power of resilience. Now, today is a day of celebration. I'm sure your family and all of the students here are so excited, as you should be. You should be extremely proud of all your accomplishments. You've worked hard, you've sacrificed, and you've persevered to make it to this point. And I'm so excited and proud of all of you. Even though I never taught any of you, I'm sure if you're a Tar Heel, you're all right with me. So, it's not, one thing I want you to leave with today is everything is not going to be okay after you graduate. And that's okay. It's okay because life has imperfections sometimes, and things aren't always going to be what we think they will be in terms of how you respond. But it's all about resilience, and it's all about how you bounce back from setbacks. So, how many of you have heard of a gentleman named Rocky Balboa? Hopefully I didn't lose the students. You know Rocky movies, right? Sometimes I make references in class and they're like, who? But I'm safe to say you know who Rocky Balboa is. He had one of the most inspiring speeches that I think I've ever heard in movie history during the actual Rocky Balboa movie. And he was talking to his son, and he was talking to him about resilience. And his speech was so inspiring that sometimes I have to recite some of it to myself. This is what he said, and this is a snippet of it. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That is how winning is done. Sometimes, you all, when I don't feel like doing something or something just seems insurmountable or hard, I whisper to myself, the world is not all sunshine and rainbows, Cassandra. Let's keep going. And eventually, unfortunately, you will experience hardships in life. Ask your parents, they'll tell you. Loved ones will go on to be with the ancestors. You may become critically ill. Someone in your family may become critically ill. You may lose your job. You may have mental health battles. And quite frankly, sometimes your entire world might fall apart. And I know all of this sounds devastating, right? I know I'm supposed to be here and be inspirational, but here comes this lady talking about gloom and doom, being a Debbie Downer. Why is she doing that? The reason I'm doing that is because I'm telling you based on my experience. As I mentioned, I sat where you all are sitting today, although we were out in the Keenan Stadium. It was bigger. It was during the spring. But when I sat where you sat, I was just so excited and everything was going to be great and I was going to be president of the United States and it was just going to be awesome. Well, a lot of it was awesome, but that's not how life works. Like many in this room, and like Rocky said, my life has not always been sunshine and rainbows. And believe it or not, because my life has not always been sunshine and rainbows, that's what led me to want to major in speech communication, which back in the 1900s, that's what your degree was called. The reason that I wanted to major in speech communication, you're not going to believe this, is because when I was a child, I stuttered. I had a speech impediment, and I was bullied because of it. And every now and then, if you talk to me, especially on the phone, if I'm tired or I've had a long week, it'll come out. You'll hear a little bit, me stutter a little bit. But as a child, I was very active in the 4-H youth development program. And in that program, you have to have a project. And so my project was, guess what? Public speaking. Public speaking, because I was constantly trying to get over that speech impediment. And I'll tell you a funny story. I couldn't have been any more than 6 years old. And my mother and my father suggested that I go to see the speech therapist in public school. I don't know if do they still have speech therapists in school? I'm talking to my line teacher who's a retired principal. Okay, and so I would go to see the speech therapist every week and she would talk to me and she'd have me sing and say the Pledge of Allegiance and we'd carry on a conversation. I would never stutter. And she would say, Cassandra doesn't stutter. And my mom would lose it. Yes, she does. She stutters. And so for any of you that know anything about that speech impediment, it's kind of psychological, and we don't know what triggers it, but that's neither here nor there. A part of the reason why I'm so excited to stand before you today is because, as you can tell, I got over it. It was a roadblock that existed, but I figured out how to improve and how to be a wonderful speaker, in my opinion. I was a paid public speaker at 13 years old. That was when I got my first paid gig as a public speaker. So I've been doing that forever. It's just like anything else. You have to practice. So sometimes you just have to learn how to take lemons and turn them into lemonade. I know you've heard that cliche before, but it's very true. Now, I have to share a secret with all of you. I want you to lean in because I'm going to whisper. When you graduate, no one cares about your GPA. You can stop putting it on your resume. The only time your parents are laughing because they know, and professors are laughing. So the only time your GPA will come up is if you apply to graduate school. That's important. Or if you have some kind of specialized internship or associateship after you graduate. But once you start getting out there and working in the real world, no one's going to say, what was your GPA? The only thing they want to know is, did you graduate? And that's exactly what happened when I came to work on the faculty at UNC Chapel Hill. They said, do you have your transcripts? They didn't say what my GPA was. Yeah, I have all of them. Here you go. And there was never discussion about that. The reason I'm bringing that up is because the same skills that have brought you to this point do not help you in terms of being successful in the real world. Here's why. because you have to be resilient. You have to be able to be okay with someone telling you no. You have to be able to be okay with receiving negative feedback. Eventually, your boss is going to come in and they're not going to be happy with something you did. You can't break down and start crying. You can't call your parents. They said they didn't like my whatever. You have to be able to accept feedback gracefully and learn from it and move on. And so also, you have to be able to get along with others. There's such a thing called emotional intelligence, and I won't bore you with all the psychological intricacies of that because I'm sure all of you have heard of it. But the people in this world who really, really succeed, quite frankly, they're not the smartest. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer sometimes. People just like them. They like working with them, and I've seen that. Because sometimes I just look at some of my coworkers, I'm like, how did you get your job here? Like, okay, apparently somebody really likes you. So your ability to keep going no matter what and to be resilient takes grit. And grit is what a lot of top CEOs and companies talk about, and that's what will really help you succeed. There's a Japanese proverb that says, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Well, I'm here to tell you, I have fallen down at least 20. But, thank God I got up 21. So that's resiliency. And I have bounced back from so much, including being a breast cancer survivor, including losing my job, to almost being homeless at one time, to losing almost everything I've owned. If you name it, it has happened to me. And those people sitting on that row right there, they know. Those are my friends and family. But no matter what, life just happens. And you have to keep going. My cousin likes to say, Cassandra, life be lifing. And so sometimes it does. You have to keep going. Now that I've given you some of my personal examples of being resilient, I want to share some examples from some folks who are more famous than I am that you might know, and how they've bounced back from adversity. The first one is the most famous Tar Heel we have ever heard of in life, and that's who? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did not make his varsity basketball team in high school. I know you've heard this story 400 times. He didn't make it. As a matter of fact, he was too short. That was a part of the reason why he didn't make it, because at the time, boys take a while to grow and all that good stuff. So he had to go to the JV team. Now, Mike didn't get upset. He didn't blame everybody else because he didn't make the team. He worked extremely hard, and he made the varsity team the next year, and the rest is history. The next person I wanted to tell you about is Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was considered a raving lunatic when he was trying to have several different inventions. And some of them didn't work, but he eventually came up with the light bulb. And he famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that something won't work. So his resilience obviously transformed the world. Now, I know you know about Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first job because they said she wasn't a fit for TV. Now, you can interpret that fit any way you like, but boy, did she show them. Oprah is now, as you know, a billionaire, and her storied career continues to grow. And last but certainly not least is J.K. Rowling. Is it Rowling or Rowling? Rowling. She, of course, wrote the whole Harry Potter series. There are Harry Potter movies, etc. But again, she couldn't find a publisher to want to publish her Harry Potter books at first. And they just kept saying no, no, no. And she finally found that one publisher who published her book, and now she's a multimillionaire. So you see, you have to be consistent, you have to be persistent, and you have to keep going. Just because someone tells you no, that's okay. You're going to get a lot of no's in life. It's not the adversity that defines you, it's how you respond to it and how you bounce back. So something I hope will stick with you long after today is resiliency is a choice. There are some people in life who love to play the victim. They just wallow in whatever bad happens to them for the rest of their lives, and they never recover for it because they get attention by being victims. I don't want that to be any of you. So resiliency is definitely a choice, and you have to make a choice to keep moving forward. Yes, I could have just fallen down and died when all this stuff was happening to me, and people say, how in the world do you do it? How do you keep going? I don't have any choice. I have to keep going. That's the way things work. So graduates, I want you to understand that you're entering a world full of challenges, but also a world full of opportunities. You have what it takes to succeed because you are graduating from this fine institution. Newsflash, Carolina does not let dummies into this university. So I know you have what it takes. You have worked with your groups and your various group projects. You have made great grades. Several of you are in honor societies, etc. So I know you can do it. I know you can bounce back again and again and again. And in doing so, I'm sure you will build a very successful future, and you will become a beacon of hope for people coming behind you. Don't leave here and forget about the folks who are coming up. Make sure you pay it forward. Be a mentor. Be an example of what other people want to be. And so having said that, I wish you all congratulations, and I wish you peace and blessings and lots of success.
Thank you, Dr. Caldwell. Really wonderful and inspiring words, and really, really pleased to have you come and give this commencement address for us. And I'm sorry for those of you who are graduating that you will not get to take her class in the spring, but come on back. You can always enroll. It's a wonderful class on leadership. So we're going to transition into the sort of next sort of phase of our event, which is going to be some toasts that we're going to do. We're going to invite students, faculty, parents, if you'd like, to sort of give some toasts about your experience. Before we, and that's happening at the back of the room, but before we do that, I want to take a minute to thank some folks who have worked really hard to sort of make this event happen. Let me start by thanking Dr. Megan Fitzmaurice and Dr. Irina Kruchanina, who are at the back there. They are part of our Community Outreach and Public Engagement Committee, which is in part responsible for organizing these types of events, and they worked really hard to sort of put all this together. I also really want to thank our staff, Jasmine Fritz, who is our marketing coordinator, Jonah Hodge, who is our undergraduate student coordinator. Some of you probably have interacted with Jonah on a regular basis. His name is not coming back, I apologize.
Violet Borzell.
Thank you. And Violet Borzell, who's taking photos for us. So, all this, I know some of you got here early, saw us setting all this up. One thing you can tell is, basically we're kind of a DIY operation, but we really come together to sort of, really want to support our students. Last piece I wanted to kind of say, so, we're going to do some toasts and then encourage folks to get some snacks. Some of our faculty are here, and we hope that.
Go ahead, we hope that. Go ahead.
We hope that you'll get a chance to introduce your parents to them. Feel free to, of course, introduce yourselves and your parents to Dr. Caldwell. If you'd like to take some photos, we have our step and repeat up in the back, and of course, I'm sure folks would love to just hear more about what your plans are. So please feel free to just enjoy yourselves. And did I miss something?
No, you actually said it, but I have a specific request. I would love to take a picture with all the graduates, so please don't scoot out. I would take a picture, probably in the back would be good, in front of the step and repeat.
That sounds like a plan. So, Dr. Fitzmaurice?
Yes, well, I was going to go ahead and launch off with our toast when you're finishing up.
I am finished up, so I'll turn
Okay,
it over to
great.
you.
Well, let's ask a couple of my colleagues to help distribute our champagne flutes. It is sparkling cider, but it's a little bit festive, and so they'll go ahead and distribute those. We're going to get a few of my colleagues to help Irina back there distribute those to all of our guests. That would be great. Thank you so much. You can just pass them down the rows. There's enough for everyone. Thank you. Dr. Caldwell, I was so inspired, and I feel like I found a kindred sister too. So I teach everybody's favorite class, public speaking, of course.
Yes.
And my parents were very concerned when I was younger that I was debilitatingly shy, and also enrolled me in therapy. And look at us now.
Look at us. Look at us.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, like Dr. Santo said, my name is Dr. Fitzmaurice. I'm Assistant Professor of Rhetoric here in the department. And today I'd love to raise my glasses to the students in front of me, to the thousands of minutes that they've logged studying for exams, preparing for assignments, for the hundreds of steps that they've taken between Bynum Hall and the media art space, for the dozens of classes that they have taken analyzing, critiquing, creating, and composing, to the 10 times that they've had to answer the question, what do you do with the comm major? To which the only appropriate response is, what can't you do with a comm major? To the 4 years, or more for some of you, that you've spent developing friendships that will last you a lifetime, and the one thing that no one can take away from you, your degree from the University of North Carolina. But this is also a toast to everybody else here in this room. Most of us have heard that it takes a village to raise a child, but I'll say I think it also takes a village to earn a degree. And so this year's a toast to everybody else in the room, to the thousands of minutes that you've spent driving those students to and from home so they can have a break from campus, to the hundreds of phone calls and text messages that you've responded to, letting them know that whatever it is, it'll be all right. To the dozens of times that you've reminded those students sometimes sleep really is more important than studying. To the handful of care packages that you've sent or coffee gift cards to say, hey, I know you've got this. And to the one very long, very cold walk that you've taken on a Thursday afternoon from the Rams Head parking deck to tell those students, hey, I see you and I'm proud of you. So this is a toast. Raise your glasses with me to these students and to this village. Cheers.
Cheers.
And so now I'd love to invite anybody in the room who'd like to raise a glass to maybe your graduating student, to a peer or a faculty member that inspired you, to maybe the parents or other people who have you supported in this journey. Feel free to stand up wherever you're at and just raise a glass to the people you're proud of.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm Jeff Theus, father to Maddie Theus. I know she's shocked because normally I would not stand up at an occasion like this. That would be my wife Elaine doing it, but I had to beat her to it. I want to say, first of all, thank you to the department. My daughter has had a great experience here. Whenever there was an issue, whenever she ran into difficulty, she told me she had someone she could go and speak to. So thank you for that. I want to say congratulations to all the graduates. Resilience is important, trust me. You will have to, sometimes you got to figure out how high you're going to bounce. Not if you're going to bounce or not, but how high will you bounce back up. And I've watched Maddie over these last few years as she's taken her own path, not the path I wanted for her or her mother wanted, but the one she wanted, to go from a 5-year-old who really would not speak to anyone to a degree in communications. Your dad and mom are proud of you. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for giving us something to brag about. We look forward to bragging about you even further. And to all the parents and graduates again, hopefully there's more brag-worthy events in your future. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bunch of Whitlocks back there crying. Hi, my name's April Whitlock. I will go ahead and get this out of the way that I am probably the only blue devil in the room. You'll have to forgive me because my oldest is getting ready to walk down. But I just want to honor Camden, who is graduating early next week and has been waiting for this since she was 5 years old. She has wanted to be an adult since she was born, and we are now officially here. My husband and Thomas and I could not be more proud of her and the woman that she's become. We are grateful for how hard she works every single day for herself and for us to make us proud. And we are just so grateful that she followed her dad's footsteps to Chapel Hill and that she has the entire world in front of her to just decide what she wants to do next. And I just want you to know how much we love you and we are so proud of you. And thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi everyone. So I'm Aishwarya and this is my sister Purvi. And so I'm not from the side of communication like all y'all. So I'm from the statistics and econ side. I graduated from UNC in 2017. So this is a little nerve-wracking for me. But we're really proud of Purvi. So both our parents are here. Our cousin, more like a sister, is here all the way from India to celebrate her. And you know, we've watched her figuring out, starting off. When I came to UNC, literally, like she keeps saying, the day that they moved me into my dorm was the day she decided she wanted to be a Tar Heel as well. And we're so happy that you found your way here and you found what you wanted to do and didn't fall into, you know, some sort of whatever it is, right? Like you figured out that you wanted to do communications and entrepreneurship. So we're really, really proud of you and we're excited to see what you're gonna do. So cheers to Purvi.
Cheers.
My son sat there and said, no. This is my son, Will Ulrich. So I graduated from the University of Illinois a long, long time ago, and I minored in what was called speech communications. And I still don't know what you do with it. But I want to talk about what you talked about. So resilience is something that Will and I have talked about since he was little. And he, freshman year in high school, he transitioned to a different high school. It was a pretty tough year. And Will later became a varsity athlete, yet freshman year he found himself failing PE. And it was tough. It was really, really tough. So we sat down after, I would say probably a year and a half of struggling. And I said, you know, you have to decide what you want to do and who you want to be and what you want to stand for. And he did. And he worked hard. And he dug himself a hole, I'm not going to kid you. And when it came time to apply for college, he had some really good board scores. His GPA was it was heading the right direction, but it wasn't where it needed to be. So he didn't get into Carolina. He got into Illinois and decided not to go, and I still don't understand that. But he ended up going to Florida State. And he got into Florida State, except he didn't get in what I would say the normal way. They said, you can come, but you have to come as a summer student, take 2 classes, and effectively prove yourself. That's kind of a little backhanded, but okay, you have an opportunity. And so he decided to go, and of course this was also as COVID was ramping up, so it made it that much harder. He aced those classes. He started at Florida State, and I think truly loved it. He got admitted to the honors college there, was doing very well. And then after his sophomore year, he said, I'm gonna apply to Chapel Hill to transfer. I said, okay, but, because you're gonna save me some money, but that's a big step. Are you sure you wanna do it? You're happy? He said, yeah, I wanna try that. Honestly, I don't think he thought he was gonna get in. And then he slipped up and got in. And then he felt, no, I think I need to go. And so he came, and honestly that junior year was tough. He didn't know a lot of people. He'd missed all the freshman stuff in your dorm and all of that sort of thing. But he hung in there. And I think it was hard. He hung in there though. Then for the next year and a half, because of the transfer, it's a semester later, he ended up living with his cousin Brandon, who's sitting over here, who will graduate in May, also in communications. And I think the point of it is, and I think what I wanted to say is what you said. You're gonna get thrown a bunch of curveballs, and you gotta learn how to hit a couple of them. You're not gonna hit them all. you gotta learn how to hit a couple of them. And if you do that, you'll be proud of yourself. Even if you don't achieve everything you want to achieve, you'll achieve some things. So congratulations.
Cheers.
Any last calls? Maybe one more? Go for it.
I'll be short.
No, you're fine. Get plenty of time.
I want to toast to Kieran. I'm Kieran's mom. I'm also a Tar Heel grad. And the last 4 years have been not easy for Kieran. And so your resilience speech was like right on. And Kieran has always been a curious and creative person, and I'm so proud of him. So, squall.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I'm sure a lot of you are misty-eyed and inspired as well. And so I think as we move on to celebrate and get some pictures and refreshments, you know, there was a request from Dr. Caldwell, but also the department. We'd love to get a picture of all of the graduates together. So we could ask them to come to the front of the room. Or do you want them in front of the banner? Front of the room? Okay, front of the room, all the graduates. It'd be excellent. We'd love to get your picture.